Everyone ready? Okay, good afternoon, and welcome to the Brick Oven Pizzeria and Pub on Grand Island Boulevard in the town of Grand Island. As we are here to talk about county investments in the town of Grand Island, the storefront revitalization program, planning grants that we'll be assisting the town of Grand Island with, as well as investments that the Erie County Department of Public Works has made in Grand Island the last couple of years and recently this year as well. I'm Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz, and I am joined by a number of representatives from Erie County, including legislators John Bargnesi and Mike Kooshoian. Behind me also is the Grand Island Town Planning Board Chair James Sharpe, who you'll hear from, our Commissioner of the Department of Public Works, William Gary, Trana Batchelor, the Erie County Department of Environment and Planning Director of Business Assistance, as well as we're joined by our Department of Environment and Planning Commissioner, Dan Castle. Mike Wilke, the owner of this establishment, is here somewhere. I think he's inside because it's very busy. But we're very pleased to be here at the Brick Oven Pizzeria and Pub to announce more of the storefront revitalization program investments across the county, as well as the other things that we'll talk about soon. But as we noted coming out of the pandemic is that small businesses needed additional assistance. There was no doubt about it. The pandemic hurt small businesses, not just in Erie County, but across the whole country and the world. And one way that we could invest in small businesses was by helping them with key infrastructure projects to bring in more traffic to their small businesses. And that is why we took a program that had previously existed through our Erie County Housing and Urban Development Consortium district storefront revitalization program. And as I say, we put it on steroids. We put it at a much higher level by investing in small businesses across all of Erie County, up to $40,000 grants per small business. And the Brick Oven Pizzeria and Pub on Grand Island is just one of those approximately 250 small businesses in our community that actually were able to receive a grant in the first round of the storefront revitalization program. I'm going to leave it up to Trana Batchelor to talk a little bit more about the program and where it stands today. But this investment by the county, partnered with investment by Mr. Wilke, has allowed the Brick Oven Pizzeria and Pub to grow, to expand, to become much better, much more noticeable as you are driving down Grand Island Boulevard on what is one of the main routes across this community. This is just another example of how investing our tax dollars, the surplus from a couple of years ago, is benefiting the entire community. Because when we support small businesses, we are supporting our community. We're supporting growth of those small businesses, which of course generates more jobs for our region. It also generates more sales tax for our region. So that $40,000 investment by Erie County is multiplied many times over when the small businesses hire additional staff to handle the influx of new business that they're receiving. The storefront revitalization program has been a big success so far, and there's so much more coming. There are many, many more businesses that we'll be announcing in the future that are in the process or progress, as you see here, of finishing the work so that they can be open and serve the general public with whatever service that they provide, whether it's a restaurant like this one, or it's a retail establishment that sells clothing, or it's any type of other small business that we assist in Erie County. So on behalf of the people of Erie County, I want to thank our legislators for supporting this program. It's a very important program, so much so that last year, the first year was a $10 million investment. This past year, we put another $5 million in the storefront revitalization program, and we're going to be opening up that program again so that additional small businesses have the opportunity to bid and become part of the storefront revitalization boom that we're seeing in Erie County. I also want to note that Erie County has done a number of key investments in the town of Grand Island recently. In recent years, we've redone some major road work on Baseline Road, Long Road, other roads, including repair on Grand Island Boulevard, but we just finished a $385,000 project on East River Road in Grand Island, so that we're investing in our infrastructure. We know our winters are harsh there. It's as simple as that. And we're not in Florida or South Carolina where a road can last 25 years or longer. Some of them last 50 years down there because they don't have the freeze thaws like we do. So we have to invest in our infrastructure to ensure that the roads that the people drive on in our community are smooth and are good roads and safe roads. It comes down to that. We want a nice smooth drive, but we want a safe drive for all. And East River Road gets buffeted because it is right along the river. While on this side of the island, it doesn't catch the huge hits of wind and waves that you sometimes see on the west side of the island. It still is important that we invest in our infrastructure across all of the communities, and that includes here in Grand Island. So I want to thank our Department of Public Works for their continued investment in our road infrastructure. We have a $50 million road infrastructure plan that is being invested in this year in roads across the entire gamut of our community, like Grand Island here in the northern tip of Erie County, all the way to work that was just done in Sardinia in the southeastern tip of Erie County. It's just an example of our putting your tax dollars to work to create a better infrastructure system, a better road system for all, which of course makes for smoother rides as well as safer rides. And then we are proud to announce that the Erie County is assisting the town of Grand Island with a $30,000 planning grant to help them as they do a more comprehensive plan for development on the island. We were expecting Supervisor of the town of Grand Island, Peter Marston, to be here. He couldn't be here, but I want to thank our friends in the town of Grand Island for working with Erie County in the application for the grant, but then in not only receiving it from our Department of Environment and Planning, but in being forward thinking. It's important that our towns think of not only what they're going to do next year, but what they want to do for 5, 10, 15 years from now. Because planning is key. You don't put new roads in unless you've done proper planning beforehand. You want to limit the amount of new infrastructure that you put in because it's very expensive. We're not just talking about roads. We're talking about sewer lines. We're talking about water lines. We're talking about other utilities. So it's very important that the local governments that set the standard for what's going to happen in their communities plan it out. And that's why I'm very thankful that the town of Grand Island will be participating in a comprehensive plan review of which our Department of Environment and Planning is investing in. So thank you to Commissioner Castle and his team for the work that you did to ensure that these dollars are being spent wisely. It's just an example, all of these, of the work that we're doing in Erie County to create a better county, whether it's businesses, roads, or just planning for our future growth. Because our community is growing, and we want to ensure that as we grow, we are a stronger, better community for all, and that's what we do in Erie County. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Legislator Mike Kooshoian to talk a little bit more about these projects, how they impact his district, and what it means for the people that are his constituents. Legislator?
Thank you. First, I want to start off by thanking our county executive for spearheading this storefront revitalization program. Thank you for doing that.
Appreciate it.
I don't know if he hears that enough, but he's been doing a phenomenal job with running our local government. For me personally, my wife owns a small business in the city of Buffalo. Her family owns a restaurant. So I saw firsthand the effects of COVID and the pandemic on these businesses, and to see the county executive coming back and showing support for all of them, I know they're very grateful for it, and it's having a huge impact. I also want to thank the county executive for his investment in Grand Island. He's making it a priority here. With the infrastructure projects that we're working on, we're going to create, we're using government to make lives better for people on a daily basis, and that's really the point of it all to me. So I thank you for that. I also want to thank Jim Sharpe. He's here. He's head of strategic planning on the island. And if you've ever talked to Jim, he's got a plan, and he's always got a new plan after the first plan. He's always working on behalf of these all of our residents out here. And along with Supervisor Peter Marston, they're doing a phenomenal job. So I thank them for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Kooshoian. Another legislator who cares a lot about this island, this town, is Legislator John Bargnesi, who's represented it and has fought for additional investments in the town. And I appreciate the legislator being here today and continuing to fight for his constituents. Legislator?
So just to clear it up a bit, Mike Kooshoian and myself, I know your name, Mike Kooshoian and myself are, I'm representing this district till the first of the year. After that, Mike will be taking over, and he's already very much involved in this community. But while we're here today for this storefront revitalization program, my 2 years now on this legislator, this program has brought communities together. And what I mean by that is people talk about this storefront program throughout Erie County. Every community, there's a network going on, people asking for the money, how do we get the money, what a great program this is. And it's brought businesses to my office. They talk about it, they want to apply for it, they say how great it is. They commend the work that everybody's doing to do it. And even the disappointment when they don't get it, they reapply the following year. It's one of the best programs for small businesses, I would think, anywhere in the state. It reaches out, it gives people that boost. And you can go back now, I don't even know how many years, and look at all the things that we've done, all the communities that we've improved, whether it's the city of Tonawanda, the town of Tonawanda, Grand Island, Hamburg, whatever it is. You could see them, you could see the improvements and the economic development that it has spurred. So I'd like to thank the county executive for doing that, for continuing to support that and to support the county legislator in funding this program. I'd like to thank Mike Kooshoian for his help in this district, and everybody being here today for helping us getting the word out about this program. So thank you very much.
Thank you, legislator. The only reason the storefront revitalization program is as good as it is because of the team at the Department of Environment and Planning that administer it. Have to go through all the applications, ensure that the businesses are in the correct position to actually apply and are a worthy recipient. That's a lot of work. It's a tremendous amount of work. And then once we decide who's going to be receiving the grants, they have to shepherd the projects through the construction phase and to ensure that everything is paid for appropriately. And that team is led by Trana Batchelor from our Erie County Department of Environment and Planning. I want to thank her and her team for the great work that they've done to make this program the success it is, because you might come up with an idea, say, hey, let's support our local small businesses. How do we do it? Well, it takes the team at the Department of Environment and Planning to do that. So thank you to Commissioner Dan Castle. Thank you to Trana for your team and your great work. And I ask you to come up and talk a little bit more about the status of the program and how things are going. Thank you.
Thank you, County Executive. It's really great to be here. My name is Trana Batchelor. I am the Director of Business Assistance in the Department of Environment and Planning. And I have, for the last year and a half, eat, slept, dreamed, been this whole program. The County Executive is not wrong. It is a lot of work, and we've had a really great team on this between our in-house folks at the county and also the consultants that we've hired to help out with it as well. But it is no small feat. We did model it after our community development program. I think that program was funding roughly 4 to 5 businesses a year. We are just about at the 1-year mark of this program, and we have 30 projects that have been complete, and we've got another 230 that are either under contract or under construction as we speak. We do have extra money or additional funds that the county executive and the legislature was so gracious to approve to add to this program. So we will be selecting another 100 to 125 businesses to fund. We'll be making that announcement probably sometime this fall. But we will be drawing from our original applicant pool. Unfortunately, the application process is not reopening at this time. But my hope is maybe sometime down the road in the future that we can have it be set up that way. But for right now, we had a huge response. Originally, over 1,000 applications came in, over 800 that were eligible, and 260 that we funded for the first round of it, and another 125 that we'll be funding with the next round of funds. So it's been quite the feat, but it is really fantastic to see projects like Brick Oven Pizza and so many others get off the ground. This project in particular has been really wonderful because they were able to utilize our funding and leverage that and add in a lot of their own funds and have turned this into a complete and utter revitalization project, not just for the 40,000 that we put in, but so much more. So it's been a great experience working on this, and we have so much more work to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Trana. And we can't do a lot of these projects and the work that we do in Erie County without our great partnerships with the various municipalities, whether it be the cities, the towns, or the villages, and as of course here in Grand Island, the town of Grand Island. We've had great partners in the town of Grand Island for quite some time. One of them, of course, is the head of the planning board right now, but was previously the deputy supervisor, Jim Sharpe. Legislator Kooshoian's right. Jim does have a plan. I've talked to Jim on a lot of different things through the years, and he always has a plan. He's not coming in without thinking through what is in the best interest for the community, and that's what you want. You want out of your leaders in your community is the people who can sit back and say, what's in the best interest? How do we go about it? Not just jump right into the swimming pool head first when there's no water in it, but how do we do it in such a manner that we create a better community? And that's what Jim Sharpe has done for many years, and we thank him. So, Jim, the floor is yours.
I'm Jim Sharpe. I am the chairman of long-range planning for the town of Grand Island. I've been doing this for nearly 30 years. I was a councilman back in the 90s. My biggest concerns when I was a councilman, a young dude, I kept saying to myself, you know, I wanted to make sure we protect our backyards. So does the town have a plan for doing that? The issue was, well, not quite. So my objective for years was to turn around and look at comprehensive planning for the town of Grand Island. And of course, the comprehensive planning of Grand Island, along with my phone ringing in my ear, is that they said, okay, you want to do that, let's do that. So I did a plan in 1995, basically the groundwork for how Grand Island was going to unfold. Again, we updated a plan in 1998. We came back in 2018 and rewrote the plan that I actually wrote back in 1995. Planning to me and planning to this community is of utmost importance to us because we want to reserve who we are and what we are. And I'll tell you what, you can't do planning without money. And so when you start to look at, are we funding this on our own, or is this something we can look at for partnershiping with other organizations, such as the state, such as what's going on with the county? We can. Bottom line is the benefit to the community benefits the overall to Erie County. And so I have to give a lot of credit to what has gone on in the past few years with me heading up an organization and looking at what we're going to do. I got a plan in 2018 from the county to update the town's comprehensive plan. I got another grant from the state of New York to update the shoreline plan for the town of Grand Island, which is unfolding right now. It should be adopted sometime in '24. But we're still looking in deeper into what we do as a community to make sure that we deliver to the residents what they want to see happen in their own communities. And therefore, we asked for another grant to look at what we can do with recreation, conservation, and open space to secure that area that Grand Island so importantly want to protect. And I can't say enough about my partnership with the county exec on accomplishing the objective, or with my two legislators that have been working with me hand in fist over all kinds of organizational issues dealing with Grand Island. Everything from Neighbors Foundations to the police protection programs, doing studies for our community. All those are part of the things that we need help with as far as funding. And Dan Castle has been the best because him and I got an award a couple years ago for both of us getting planning. Me for community planning and him for county planning. And so for me, it's been a great partnership working with this county and working with our county exec, who's been doing some fantastic things for Grand Island. East River has been deplorable over the last few years. They did one half last year. They got another, I should say, a third last year, a third this year, and I'm hoping to God to get the other third, which is my third. So, all right, just putting in my plug. But I want to tell you, folks, you need to really have partnershiping to move your communities forward. We got to be part of the bigger picture, and all Grand Island wants to do is be that. I'm here to speak on behalf of the town supervisor, the deputy supervisor, Pete Marston, who could not be here. He is my right arm when we're looking at planning. He's the liaison from my committee to the actual town board. Him and I have spent a great deal of time looking at what we do and how we do it in Grand Island. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here to give the words to you, and he gave me the honor to do so. And I want to thank you. And Mark, I want to thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Keep up the very good work. Erie County certainly is proud of the investments that we've made in the most recent years on storefronts, as well as the investments that we make every year in our road infrastructure. There's big projects going on right now with roads on Tonawanda Creek Road, as well as pavement in Lancaster, and it never ends. As long as we have winters, we're going to have to be doing some substantial work on roads, and we'll continue to invest in them. We're going to continue to invest in our storefronts. We're going to continue to invest in our municipalities so that they can plan appropriately in the future. And as a result of it, we'll have a better, stronger community across the board. So thank you all for being here. We'll take any on-topic questions from media if there are any. If they're off-topic, we'll take them separately.
I got a quick question. Is this independent? It sounds like it predates, but is this independent of the Federal Infrastructure Act in any way? Is it connected in terms of the revenue stream?
This is independent. We will start receiving funding with the infrastructure in the next year. I'll bring up our Commissioner of the Department of Public Works, Bill Geary, to talk a little bit about how the process goes. The federal money goes to the state, and then the state then releases money to the local governments, which we will be getting more, but the project that was done this year is independent. But Bill, you want to talk a little bit?
Yeah, all these projects that we've fortunately been able to accomplish are 100% county funded. We do leverage some state funds. It's a reimbursement program through the CHIPS program, the Consolidated Highway Improvement Funds. But as County Executive noted, over the last 3 years, we've been able to rehabilitate almost 9 miles of road just in Grand Island alone. So we try to hit every community. We'd love to knock out East River Road all at one shot, but it's so long of a road that we have to do it in phases like that. And then each phase requires some different methods, also techniques. But as our federal funds are coming in, the new TIP, the Transportation Improvement Program through the federal aid side, which is about $35 million that Erie County is a part of, we'll be starting to see those programs come alive this year, late this year, bid out for construction next year, and then over the next 4 years.
One of the great things about the bipartisan infrastructure law that was passed in DC is it's a 5-year program. It's not like all the money's coming in year one. So we'll be seeing increased amount of federal dollars into our community for major infrastructure projects for 5 years. And that's going to help us do more on an annual basis. Any other on-topic questions?
What's the average business would receive to do renovation?
Well, most of the businesses received up to the full amount, which is $40,000. Not all did. They could apply for a $40,000 grant. This project, as you can see, is still somewhat ongoing because the owner is contributing their own dollars as well because of the size of the project. So we've done smaller projects, which sometimes are just painting and maybe a new door or two, to larger ones where they totally remodeled the exterior. But the vast majority of the projects, not all, but the vast majority have sought and received the full grant amount, which was $40,000 per business. If there are no further on-topic questions, I'll take off-topic, and if anybody wants to walk away, that's up to them.